And welcome back to the Cincy Sports Scene podcast. I am your host, Dave, along with my son, Sam. And, this is your go-to show for everything happening in the Cincinnati sports and beyond. We are diving into all the latest headlines, Bengals stadium renovation news, FC Cincinnati's road battle in New York City, and how the Reds are stacking up a month into the MLB season. Plus, we've got our always popular trivia segment and a can't miss topic of the week. This time we are drafting the top 10 non-Big Four sporting events in the world. So whether you're a diehard Cincy fan or just love great sports conversation, you're in the right place. So let's get started with the week that was. So Sam, how was your week so far?
No, it wasn't too bad. Rainy, gross out. That always makes your week a little bit worse, no matter what.
It does. It does. Those of you that are regulars here, you will notice that it's just Sam and I this week and moving forward. If you caught the show last week, Charlie gave his farewell speech. He will be popping on from time to time and joining the show, but moving forward, it will be just Sam and I. So, we'll talk a little bit about the week that was. I know FC Cincy plays later today, and we're coming to you early Sunday morning about 12 o'clock here in Cincinnati. So we really don't have a whole lot to discuss there. Do you want to give a quick preview of what to expect in the game?
I mean, who they have? NYCFC, I believe. See, I had the table pulled up here. Get back over to my ESPN app. I know FCC right now, they're in third place, but that's just because they haven't played their game yet this week. So, I mean, a win would put them right back into first place. Let's see here, the table. YCFC, they're 4 wins, 2 draws, 4 losses. So I mean, it's a game that we should win. We're the better team, but I mean, you're playing at New York. Who knows what field they're playing on? I don't even know if they know what field yet they're playing on because they don't have a home stadium. Whichever baseball field they end up playing at, it's a smaller pitch, a lot more narrow, barely technically fits the dimensions allowed for a professional field. So it's always kind of a crapshoot when you play New York here, especially at New York, just because of the field. You got to play a little bit different. You can't get the width that you normally get, which doesn't necessarily hurt FCC just because they attack centrally, generally speaking. They don't tend to get out wide. They don't rely on it, I should say. But it's MLS. It's a Sunday game in a baseball stadium, so chances are it'll be a fun game at least.
Yeah, and we're going for 6 in a row, I believe, right?
Yes. Yep. 6 in a row. Yep.
So hopefully they can get on a longer winning streak than that. So good luck to them, and we'll be back next week with the recap of that and the game against Austin as well. So before we go into the Bengals and just the agreement for renovations, and we do want to give a shout out to all the runners that competed in the Flying Pig marathon, half marathon, and 5K, 10K, mile run, all those things this weekend. Those of you that have never been to Cincinnati to witness the Flying Pig or actually run in the Flying Pig and you are a runner, you really need to make the trip the first weekend in May to come down and really see how Cincinnati does it, because it's one of the top marathons in the country. So, next year, if you're not doing anything, first weekend in May, come on down. Love to have you in the Queen City. All right, let's talk about the Bengals real quick. The only news really of this week was that, the commissioners, Hamilton County commissioners and the Bengals agreed on renovation for the stadium, which is a good step towards renewing the lease. But, it was 2-1. Angela Reese voted not to renew. And her reasoning was because the money was going to the suites and the club seats and not just the average Joe's seats renovation. So she said no, it was a waste of taxpayers' dollars there because most taxpayers cannot afford the luxury boxes, etc. So, the Bengals are ponying up $60 million. The NFL is ponying up $60 million. And I think Hamilton County is 60 in the hook for $64 million. So that's phase 1 of the renovation project. So thoughts on that, Sam, before we move forward?
I mean, I guess it's a good step to keeping the team downtown. I guess it's nice from this county, city's end, county, right? I think it's county. That, they're putting up less than 50% of it. So I guess that's a win on their end, I guess. But I mean,
Yeah, they're
whatever.
still putting up more than the
They're
Bengals, and
still,
that's
yeah,
the beef,
that's,
right? I
yeah.
mean,
Yeah,
you
I mean,
know,
I guess at least the NFL's, pulling from their funds because, the NFL's got billions of dollars just stashed away specifically for these stadium projects. So at least, they were able to get the NFL to pony up for some of it. So, but yeah, I mean, the Bengals putting up the least amount of all three entities here. I mean, that's not surprising anybody. So,
not at all, not at all. But the next, June 30th is approaching quickly, and that's when they have to either come up with a new lease or they are signing the first of the 2-year agreements. They got 5 2-year agreements that they can sign if they can't come to an agreement for a long-term lease. So hopefully they can get that done and they can stay in Cincinnati and stay on the riverfront. Speaking of staying on the riverfront, let's talk about the Reds, and we'll talk about the St. Louis and the Washington series, and then we'll get into a little bit of how the first month of the season has gone and what what we can expect from everybody else against the Reds in the national sense in Central Division and then overall in the National League. So let's talk Reds series first. The Cardinals came to town and we started out, really good. Singer pitched. It was a really good game against the Cardinals. I got the victory, and we're looking good on that front. Moving 2 games out of first place, and then the doubleheader came the next day, and the rain out, then the doubleheader, and the rains came, and when they say the floodgates open, the floodgates open. Chase Petty pitched the second game of the doubleheader, and I watched that because I wanted to see what his stuff was because we heard a whole bunch about it. Feel sorry for the kid. He didn't pitch very well, nerves, whatever, but overall, I think he was very frustrated with himself, frustrated with his performance because you could see it visibly on his face when they were panning into the dugout. And he's got a future in this league, but my thing is I don't know. It just seems like every time our so-called good pitchers making a major league debut, they get rocked, right? Or they just
they do.
nothing happens. You're not saying, oh yeah, it's not like a Paul Skeens debut, nothing like that. But then anytime somebody makes their major league debut against us, he looks like a Hall of Fame. He's bound for the Hall of Fame. So, I don't know if the character makeup of our pitchers, we can't handle the big stage at an early age, or we're not, I'm pretty sure Derek Johnson and Tito are telling him, hey, just relax, just go out there, throw strikes. You'll be fine. We'll back you up. Whatever happens, happens. Enjoy the moment. But I know these kids as a player, as a former player, we're both former players. We want to perform the best of our ability. So maybe we're putting a little too much pressure on ourselves. And maybe that's what Chase Petty did.
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, pitchers, especially nowadays, it's so tough because they don't learn to pitch till they get in the big leagues. They're just throwing. I mean, I remember Hunter Green's debut, and I mean, he got touched up a little bit. I mean, he was throwing hard. That's all. He didn't have that splitter yet. He didn't have any command of his slider yet. He just threw hard, and his fastball didn't move at all back then, if you remember. I mean, yeah, he was touching 102, 103, but it
Straight
didn't
gas.
move. Dudes can hit that nowadays. Like they just can. They're used to seeing it. You throw 96. I mean, back in the day, that's 88. Like that's nothing. So, I mean, you really got to have your secondary and your third pitches by the time you get caught up if you want to have that Paul Skeens like immediate impact. Otherwise, it's going to be, you're going to have these outings like Petty did. And I mean, he'll learn from it. He's a top prospect for a reason. He's got the potential. He's got the stuff, but he's going to have to learn to pitch a little bit, I think.
Well, and to be fair to Chase, he is only 21, maybe. I think
He is.
yeah.
He's young.
So
He's on the younger end of a prospect.
and
Yeah,
he's
definitely.
and Paul Skeens came out. He was 22, 21,
Yeah,
22 when he came out,
a
and he had
4-year player.
3 years LSU learning how to pitch.
2 at LSU. He was at the Air Force.
Yeah, that's right.
Before and then transferred.
Yep, two there. So you don't want to sugarcoat it, but that does play a part. I mean, you look at Hunter Green and the maturation process and just learning how to navigate a big league lineup, big league parks for the first time, weather conditions that you might not be used to pitching in.
That's another thing too. Is Great American Ballpark is not friendly for somebody that's making a debut. It's just not. It's not an ideal place to make your debut
unless you're on the opposing team.
Well, yeah.
And you're a left-handed pitcher, because forget about it. So,
No, yeah, I'll always Steven Matz for the
yeah,
Nets or for the Mets. He went like 7 no-hit innings and he hit a home run. It was just
yeah. I mean,
that's the
you
one
can
that
go
always sticks
through.
out in my mind.
Yeah, you can go through. A guy just got called up because somebody went on the injured list, making his major league debut, and he throws 6 shutout innings against us.
Yep.
I don't know. Hopefully that stuff will change with Tito being the manager from here on out. And hopefully we don't have to have too many more guys making their major league debuts this season because our pitching staff is
Especially
pretty
out
good.
of necessity, right?
Right.
Like
Out of
if it's just
necessity.
because they're balling out, then that's one thing. But
Right.
yeah, this one was definitely made out of necessity
Yep,
with the
it was
doubleheader.
the doubleheader. So then we won the fourth game. So we did split with St. Louis. So really no harm, no foul there. And then moving into the Washington series, Singer pitched a great game against
No, it was Hunter Green.
It was Hunter Green. I'm sorry.
Hunter Green, yeah.
Hunter Green pitched a great game against the Nationals in their opening debut.
Yeah, on Friday.
On Friday night. And then yesterday, Lodolo just did not have it. And we faced a guy who was throwing 86, 87 most of the night. A lot of sweepers, a lot of sliders, a lot of off-speed stuff. We just, we played horrible all the way around. It was another rainy, cold night, hour and a half delay from start time. I don't know. Doesn't look promising. I mean, it does look. I mean, they're going to get the game in today, but it's no sun.
Another just crappy game.
So, thoughts on the Nationals series, the 2 games here?
I think they definitely need to win today. Finish the week over 500 for the week. With the split with the Cardinals, and then take 2 out of 3 against the Nationals. I mean, that's really, you should be taking 3 from the Cardinals. They're not very good, but division, and it's the Cardinals. But it's same way, Bengals, Steelers. Steelers are probably going to get one against us. Just the way it works. Same with the Cardinals. They're probably just going to take 2 when they shouldn't. Had no business really doing that. So we definitely need to win today against the Nationals. Over 500 for the week. If you do that, I mean, you're going to be in a pretty good spot for the entire season. I didn't see who's starting today, pitching.
Let's see.
I didn't see who it was.
Nick Martinez.
Yep.
Yep.
Okay. I mean, hopefully he can give us 5 strong.
5 to 6. I mean, his last outing he pitched pretty well. So let's keep that train rolling. Speaking of rolling, hitters of the week, who do you have?
Going with Espinal. He hit 530 this week. I mean, he didn't necessarily have the at-bats some of the other guys did, but he was 9 for 17. Looking at it right now, 9 for 17. I mean, that's you've got to give it to him.
Yep.
You can't not at those numbers.
Yeah, he had played really well last night as well, as far as on the hitting wise. Pitcher of the week.
Pitcher of the week, I'm going with Hunter Green just from his performance on Friday. I mean, he's been really good all year. Had a little hiccup the past 2 starts before this one on Friday, but I mean, he got back into form, I think, and he looked really good.
Yeah, and that's what I wanted to see is how he rebounded after a not so good performance. And boy, he, as he said, quote, I'm the man. I want to be the man of the people. And he delivered 12 strikeouts.
Yep.
They all got pizzas. So congrats to Hunter and Espinal for the pitcher and hitter of the week. All right. Who are we DFAing?
Well, I mean, he kind of already got DFA'd. Diaz, he got sent down.
Well, yeah, he did. That is true.
But, I mean, I'm kind of looking at numbers here. I mean, McLean's been really bad. I don't know if he needs just a quick, 5-10 games down in AAA just to get his confidence back or what. But he has not been good. I mean, I don't know if there's a pitcher that I'm not real happy about, but I hate to do it, but I'm gonna have to go with McLean.
That's funny because that's who I was leaning towards, just because he needs to work out something. He got 1 hit yesterday, but yeah, he's ever since he came back from the IL when he had that hamstring tweak or whatever it was, because he was really raking the ball early on. So that, to me, he's either not 100% or he's not finding his balance at the plate. And like Barry said the other day, he's a little early on everything. He's hitting it out off the end of the bat instead of making solid contact. If you can like when he tried that bunt attempt and Sadak asked if he liked that attempt, and liked that. He's like, yeah, I really like it because, the ball travels, you have to wait on it to try to catch it with the bat. You can see it hit the bat, and that just might get him tracking the ball a little better. But, he's batting a $113, $115, or whatever it is. And he's not even batting that coming back from the IL stint. It's all that first couple of weeks of the season that helped him.
Yeah, it really is. Yeah.
So, hopefully he can work at it. I know as a coach and as a player, and I do appreciate Tito saying, you're my number 2 hitter. I'm not going to, move you around based on matchups like, Bell did. And that's the one thing I just could not stand about Bell. It's like he would have went 3 for 4 against a player, and then the next day, because it's a right-handed pitcher, he's dropped down to the 5-6 hole, and it's just like, just leave him there, let him get comfortable, let him get in a rhythm. So I appreciate that, but I also understand that, hey, okay, it might be time to move him down to the bottom of the order, just to don't let him put too much pressure on himself. But
yeah,
it's a catch-20. All right, let's talk real quick about the Reds after the first month of the season. They were 16-14. What do you think? About where they should be? A little disappointed?
I'd like them to be a little bit better, but that's as good of a opening month as they've had in a long time. I know last year they were actually pretty decent in April too.
Right.
But historically speaking, April is usually there's been times where they're out of it by the time April's done. So to be over 500, even if only 2 games, I know they're 2 games right now. The Cubs are looking really good, so to try and keep pace with the Cubs, they're going to have to pick it up a little bit. Because, if you look at kind of the standings, a wild card spot's going to be tough. Because the teams out west are really good. They've got 3 teams already with 20 wins, and then Phillies have 20 wins, and the Mets have 20 wins in the East. So wild card is going to be tough. So they've got to do their best to keep pace with the Cubs, I think. So I think the Cubs are going to be the real competition for the division.
Yeah, I do too. I agree there. And what's scary about the Cubs right now is they haven't played a series or a team under 500 yet. I saw that yesterday.
Wow.
So, here's hoping.
Yeah, they're 21-13. It's their best record in the National League.
Yeah. So, here's hoping that once they start playing those teams that have losing records, that they give some people rest and think it's a cakewalk, and then they lose 3 out of 4. But, the Cubs are the Cubs for a reason, but they are looking pretty good. They've got solid rotation. They're scoring a lot of runs. Ian Happ is a Reds killer. It doesn't really matter. We just have to be able to play well against the Cubs. And
he's a whole division killer. He kills everybody in the Central.
Yeah,
I saw he's got like a 35-game hit streak against Pittsburgh. It's crazy.
Yeah, and he was there for us to take, but we passed on him. We passed on him because we had Billy Hamilton at the time, I think. All right, up next here, we've got the Atlanta Braves and the Houston Astros on the road. So, yeah, today's game is very important. Get us on that right track. I know the Braves aren't playing great baseball, but they're 8-5 at home.
Yeah.
And hopefully we'll miss their ace. But they do have you just never know how they will respond. Because we'll have Abbott and Singer and Green going against the Braves. So I'll take my chances there. I like our pitching matchup. All right. Any other thoughts on the Reds? And
I'm just kind of looking. They're plus 37 in run differential. I know that most of that probably comes from the Baltimore game, but still, that's a good run differential. So
they're in the Baltimore
indicate
game.
They should be have a better record. But yeah, that mostly came from the Baltimore game.
Well, and then there was the one that they were 14. They scored 14 runs.
Oh, was that against the Rangers?
Yeah, against the Rangers, and then they went. Scored.
Oh yeah, so there's your run differential right there.
So yeah, it's we'll see. And then Ty Steve is back with the club. Good debut Friday night, 2 for 4, 2 doubles. Last night wasn't very good, and I know it's only one game back. I'm behind the plate, but I think Trevino should be the catcher moving forward. I mean,
he's so much better defensively.
well, defensively and just framing the ball, and that could have had an effect on Lodolo, right? I mean, he hasn't thrown to, and Ty's frame rate is very, very low. And, I like Trevino behind the plate, and, and you.
I mean,
Put,
it's put Stevenson at first or have him DH. I mean, it's not like we're really getting production of our first baseman anyways.
Spencer's starting to come along a little bit.
Yeah, but I mean,
if he's
DHing or if he's at first and then Stevenson DHs,
right,
it's not the end of the world. I mean,
and then
CES isn't
still catch a few games, right?
yeah, you
3
can.
games a week or something like
but
that.
I mean, you look, Wins is what's his? I mean, he's hitting almost 400.
Right.
Trevino's at 319.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, if they're gonna hit, they deserve to play. I mean, it's
that's a it's a conundrum that Francona will have, and once
I said last week, maybe Candelario gets a little Phantom IL stint, and sure enough, they put him on.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
You might just move him to the 60-day.
Yeah. Just put him
because
there.
you're paying him anyways, so
Right.
just have him not take up a roster spot, and you put him on the 60-day. You can add somebody to the 40-man too. So it's not the end of the world, I think, if that's the route they take.
No, it's not. It's not. So yeah, let's end with that, and hopefully the Reds can they've got the 4 o'clock start time, 4:10 start time today because of all the festivities with the Flying Pig down and around the stadium, and that's why it's a late Sunday afternoon game. So we're going to move into our trivia, and last week you had the question, and I believe we got it.
You guys got it. Yep. You ended up getting it all. It was there were 9 teams who have had a number 1 overall pick in the NFL and NBA draft since each league's respective merger. I didn't bring the list with me, but you guys did end up getting it. So
all right. So I have the trivia question this week, and what I am going to do is I'm going to let you choose which one. I have 2. So I'm going to let you choose which one you would like. One is the Derby was yesterday, so it's a Kentucky Derby trivia, and the other is a coaching trivia.
We'll go with the coaching. I know nothing about the Derby. All
right, let me pull up the trivia here real quick. All right, since the let's see here, drawing a blank. Popovich retired. He was the longest tenured head coach in the Big 4 sports. With his retirement, the question is, who now is the longest tenured? That's with one team. Longest tenured head coach in a Big 4 sport.
Let's see. Belichick's gone. I'm trying to think of, some of the big names like that. Andy Reid?
No.
No?
No. Yeah, if you want to play along, you can shoot us a quick message on Instagram or Twitter at CincySportScn, or when it comes out on YouTube, if you want to make a comment or make the comments in the Apple Podcast platform.
It's not hockey, right? Because if it's hockey, I've got no chance. So if it's hockey,
I'm not going to say yes or no
chance.
because it's that would be 1/4 of the category.
Well, I mean, if it's hockey, we can just go ahead and move on because I know no hockey coaches.
No, it's not hockey because hockey's like soccer. They rotate coaches.
That's what I thought. I figured they fire them after a year, even if you make the playoffs.
Right.
Okay. Let's see. Try to go through baseball here. Dave Roberts has been there for a while, but I don't think he's longer than Andy Reid. That's about Steve Kerr. How long? Steve Kerr, he's been there for a while.
Long enough.
Eric Spoelstra with the Heat.
No.
Man, he's been there a while too.
He has been.
Wow, so he started, I want to say 2009 or 10. So wow.
This person has been with their franchise as a head coach for 18 seasons.
18 seasons. What that puts us at 2007? 2007?
Give you about 30 more seconds and then we'll move on.
Trying to think of some Mike Tomlin.
Ding,
there we go.
Ding.
Yeah, it took me a minute. Yep, there we go.
Yes, Mike Tomlin has the current streak for 18 consecutive years with one franchise. Now that Popovich is retired from the NBA. Okay, our topic of the week is going to be a good one. We have been creating some lists here of, we did a bucket list of sporting events that we wanted to go see. We've done, just talked about the best months for sporting events, and a lot of these that we're going to have encompass this. So we decided to do a best non-Big Four sporting event because there are, a couple of things that are happening here this month, last month and next month that we can be talking about in our show. And we just wanted to see where they would fall into the category on our list. So we're going to break it down into two segments. We're going to do United States events where it's predominantly U.S. related. And then we're going to go world events. And so what we are going to do is we're going to read our list backwards 10 to 3 or 10 to 4, and then we'll reveal our top 3. And then eventually we will come up with an overall list of 10 of the best sporting events, non-Big Four sporting events. So to kick it off, Sam, you want to start with the United States events? You want to just read your 10?
Yeah, we'll go backwards, starting at 10. So 10, it's actually my 10 for World and US, same thing, just because of the overlap. But I have WrestleMania. I'm just, I don't care about it, but it's really big. I mean, I see it all over, Twitter, whenever it's happening. I don't even know when it takes place, but I see it. I hear people talk about it all the time. So I've got WrestleMania at 10. I've got the Boston Marathon at number 9. US Open Tennis at number 8. And then number 7's a little bit different, but I have College Game Day. Like actually going to the, being a part of the actual TV show in the crowd. It's a blast. It's a great time if you've never done it. I know UC is probably not going to be around anytime soon, but it's a blast if you could.
Big noon kickoff on Fox one time.
Yeah,
It was pretty fun. It wasn't as good, but
not
yes,
the same.
I know.
Number 6, I have the Kentucky Derby. Number 5, I have the Indy 500. And then number 4, I have the college football playoff.
Okay. So I did not include any of those just because when I say Big Four, I know it was like
I took it as professional.
I took it as basketball in general because you could have, March Madness and playoffs there, right? So that's why I went at no football, no.
Well, I mean, I can take them off and.
No, I mean you can leave it on. I mean that's fine.
You
can leave it on. That's fine.
I mean, no, we'll make some changes because it won't be that difficult for me.
Okay.
Basically, we'll slide. Well, I got to take. Okay, so we'll go new number 10 because I had some, OLIs, championship fights, whether boxing, UFC, championship fights, and then we'll just bump everything else up.
Okay.
Take the college football playoff out, and then that slide Indy 500 into technically my 3. So.
You mean your 4 spot?
Yeah, in the 4.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry, in the 4. Yeah.
Okay. So my I had some similar. So basically, and I went off of the way I did this. I started with like things that were traditional, like the best in tradition, maybe not so much of attendance, but tradition. And then I went with like things that might have some attendance that are really good. And then I have a couple that were like pretty obscure that it's like, oh yeah, that does happen. So my number 10, believe it or not, is the Iditarod dog sled. Yes.
Yeah.
And then number 9, it's the America Cup, the sailing. And I know it's, that's against usually Australia or something like that, but that's pretty big. And then I had my number 7 number 8 was I had like UFC main events, title bouts, sort of similar to you, championship fight. And then I had WrestleMania, which it's huge, even though I don't follow it as well. Then I had the Daytona 500 at 6. At 5, I had the Boston Marathon. And then at 4, I had the US Open Tennis. So why don't we go back and forth? You'll reveal number 3,
okay.
3, 2, 1, and I'll go 3, 2, 1. So once you go 3, I'll go 3, and then 2, 2.
Okay. So my number 3 is the Daytona 500.
Okay. Why'd you put that there? What?
It kicks off the NASCAR season, right? And I mean, honestly, in this country, NASCAR probably is the biggest of the non-Big Four sports, especially down south.
Yep.
Well, I think it's. Yep. I mean, I don't care about NASCAR, but anytime you can get 200,000 people in one spot for one sporting event, I mean, that's a pretty big deal.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, it kicks off the NASCAR season too.
Okay. So I'm on a similar line, but being from the Midwest, we don't care about NASCAR. We are all IndyCar here.
IndyCar. Yep, you went the other way.
Yeah,
yep.
I went the other way. Indy 500, just because it's the greatest spectacle in racing, right? The bricks, everything. And this is where I'm talking about tradition. And I know Daytona has a ton of tradition, so don't at me with all your complaints, but I do like the Daytona 500. But Indy, to me, Carb Day, all the stuff that goes along with the Indianapolis 500. So that's why I had it at 3. Who'd you have it to?
2, I had the U.S. Open golf.
Okay, all right. Real similar. I had the Masters at 2.
I had the Masters at number 1.
That's what I was going to say. Why did you have US at 2 then? But because you had the Masters,
I had Masters at 1.
1, and I had the Kentucky Derby at 1. I mean, I just think, it's one of those bucket list things that in America, I mean, when you can get 150,000 people in Louisville on a rainy weekend, and I think is, to me, I mean, I love the Derby. It's one of my favorite sporting events in the world. All right, so that's our list for the U.S. Now let's go to non-U.S. Sam. So if you want to start with your 10.
Yep, 10. I will. I'll start with number 10. I have the Tour de France at number 10. Something, I know it's huge. I don't care about it. Won't watch a second of it, but I know it's huge. So
you watched it all. We all had the Armstrong bracelets and stuff.
Yeah,
so
sure. But now
only when Americans are in it, right?
Yeah, exactly. At number 9, I have the World Dart Championships. I don't know if you've ever seen any highlights of it, but it's electric. It looks like a really good time. Number 7, I have Wimbledon. Number 6, I have the Winter Olympics.
Okay, so you're okay.
I differentiated here just because there's a big difference between the two. So that's why. What was that? Number 6. So number 5, I have the Euro/Copa America, so the Continental Championships.
Okay.
For
Actually,
soccer.
that was number 6 because you were at 10.
That was that number 6?
6, yeah.
Yes, that's number 6. Yeah, is Euro/Copa.
Okay.
And then number 4, I have the Champions League final.
I think that was 5.
No, 5. Sorry, yeah,
that was 4.
That is.
Yeah.
No, that was 5.
10,
that was
9,
5.
8, 7, 6.
Sorry,
5,
yeah, my list got all messed up. So yeah, that was 5. So now number 4, I have the Open Championship.
All right. So I had a tie at number 10. And it's, I don't know, I had the Le Mans endurance race.
Never heard of it.
It's a 24-hour endurance race with Formula One or sports cars. It's / the running of the bulls. I know that's not a specific a sporting event, but you got the bulls coming down in Spain there, and then anybody can jump in and run against them. So that's number 10. Number 9, I have the Cricket Ash series. It's England versus Australia in cricket. They say it gets heated. Don't know, never watched it, but I'm pretty sure it probably does. And then number 8, it's the Rugby World Cup. It's the same thing, right? You've got all those teams that hate Britain and they want to pound them. And then number 6, I think, I have the Monaco's Grand Prix. So it's a huge Formula One.
I kind of forgot about that one. Yeah, that's huge. That's a miss on my part. Yep. Yeah, that is a big one.
So I got 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, and then 5. I have the Tour de France, and then 4. I have the X Games. So
X Games, okay.
The X Games. Yep. All right. So let's reveal your top 3.
So my number 3 is the Ryder Cup, U.S. versus Europe.
Yep.
I could have put that on the U.S. event, but I decided to do it. It's an international event.
Yep. All right. My number 3, I had the British Open.
My number 2 is the Summer Olympics.
All right. My number 2 is just the Olympics.
My number 1 is the World Cup.
Yeah. All right. So now our task here is to come up with a list of the top 10.
Overall.
That's
what we're doing. Overall.
So do you want to tackle this one through? Let's go.
I mean, we both said World Cup is number one internationally, and I mean
Right. So does
it's
that
number one no matter what. I
no matter
think
what? Yep. All right. So we'll
World
put the
Cup's
World
number one,
Cup. World Cup.
and then
All
I
right.
think we can work 10 up
Down
from here.
from here. Okay.
Yeah, 10 back to 2.
Okay. Or do we? Because my number 2, I had Wimbledon. I had the Kentucky Derby as number 1 U.S. in the Masters.
Yeah,
You
I mean,
had
Masters were my number 1 for the U.S., so I
right.
mean that's pretty high on both of our lists. I mean,
You
I
had
had the Derby a little bit lower than you did.
right. Yep. You had the Summer Olympics, and I just put the Olympics over all.
I mean, we can combine them for these purposes. I'm
Right.
fine with that.
Do you want to say? I mean, I had the Olympics at 3.
I had the Summer at 2, so I mean that's pretty high.
Mm-hmm.
What was your number 1 U.S.? It was the Derby?
It was the Derby, yeah. See, the reason,
Yeah.
I mean, the Olympics, to me, I mean, the overall, I mean, I watched maybe 5 minutes of the Olympics this year. I mean, I didn't watch squat. It just did not appeal to me that much, especially because it was the Summer Olympics and, time change, it was different, tape delay. And the only time I watched it was when, we had our guys week down in Asheville and we were flipping channels and wrestling was on. Lynn wanted to watch the wrestling. So we were watching wrestling. Didn't watch much soccer of it. Didn't watch any of the golf.
Yeah, I mean, I generally don't watch the
overall
major sports,
Yeah. Yeah. And, but if you watch the Olympics for basketball, well, that's a big 4.
Right. I mean, generally speaking, though, like I didn't watch golf, basketball,
Right.
any of the
Right.
soccer. Like, I've watched the track and the swimming and
And the swimming,
gymnastics.
yeah.
Those are the big 3 of the Olympics, and
And-
that's what I watch. Because when else are you going to watch those? I mean, you don't.
Right. You don't. And same thing with the Winter Olympics. I mean, I love the hockey in the Winter Olympics.
Only when the pros are playing, though.
Well, right. I mean,
it's not the same if they're not playing.
No,
it's not.
It's not. But I don't know. Growing up in the, when I did, and the Olympics were all amateurs. It was, it is. So you want to go Olympics too?
I think we can go Olympics too. Yeah.
All right. I know people will let us know if we're crazy. What do you think? The Masters? Because
I'm thinking the Masters. Yeah.
Because I had the Masters at 2 behind.
I had them at 1.
And the Derby. You had the Derby way down.
I had the Derby at what, 6?
Yeah.
5?
5 or 6.
Yeah.
I would think, I think more people would tune into the Derby than the Masters.
See, I mean,
of a worldwide event, I think.
I was thinking different. I was thinking if worldwide event, it would be the Masters. US would be the Derby.
I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know what the Derby's typical ratings are.
They're huge.
Are they?
Yeah, especially for the race. And then all the stuff that goes around the Derby, the mint juleps, the hats, the dress, all the parties. There's no Masters parties,
Yeah, but there's the Masters lore. There's the Augusta lore.
There is the green jacket. So is the Derby. And the reason the Derby is so popular is because if you don't win the Derby, you can never win the Triple Crown.
Yeah.
So
and if you don't win the Masters, you can't win the Grand Slam.
No, but there's been more.
There's been more Triple Crowns than career Grand Slam, sure, but a year Grand. I don't think anybody's ever done that. Have they?
No, I don't think so. I don't think
so. So.
Yeah, so that's impossible. And it's not impossible, but
yeah,
I don't think it will happen. All right, so we got a toss up there. So the Masters or the Derby, unless I don't think anything else.
Let's see here. It looks like
because the Masters is way ahead.
Viewership peaked at 20 million. That's a huge number.
Holy cow!
For what? For the Derby,
20
million. Yeah, I think you've got to give it to him just on that. I don't think the Masters comes anywhere close to that.
Especially if Tiger's not in.
Yeah, especially if Tiger's.
now Rory, he,
Let's see. Masters ratings. I don't think the Masters is going to be anywhere close to that. Yeah, it peaked at 12 million, 12.7. So yeah, Derby.
Right. And I think what hurts the Masters is.
It's a 4-day event.
It's a
longer event.
Right. Yeah. And really, most people don't turn in until either Saturday afternoon, moving day, or Sunday.
Yeah.
Back 9, right?
Yep.
So I guess 4 would probably be the Masters.
So 4 would then be the Masters.
Okay. Yeah. And then 5, I have Indy at 3 for my US.
Yeah.
And I have the Olympics and I had Wimbledon. You had Daytona, U.S. Open, and then the Ryder Cup.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be fine going Indy 500 over Daytona. I would. So no, I had Daytona over the 500, but I'm fine flipping that around. Yeah.
And then the Daytona, or do we want to do something else?
I don't know that Daytona would be bigger than the Ryder Cup.
Yeah, I don't know.
Get about 8 million that's kind of their average.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what the Ryder Cup would get.
And that's a 3-day event.
Yeah, it's tough to compare them because 3-day event versus 4 hours is
right.
I mean, 2 years ago the Ryder Cup got 1.4 million average viewers. I mean, that's significantly less than Daytona.
Yeah. What about something international like the Grand Prix or the Tour de France, the Grand Prix?
I mean, Monaco is. that's the biggest of their races, right? The biggest of the F1 races.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure that. I don't know what it would do here, but I'm sure it's massive over there in terms of ratings. I would be fine putting Monaco there.
You need to look at WrestleMania, see what WrestleMania's ratings were.
Well, WrestleMania is a pay-per-view, isn't it?
Yeah, now it is, yes.
WrestleMania, let's see here. Ratings by year. I mean, let's see. It's the most viewed. This last one was the most viewed one ever. But it doesn't have like the actual rating. 25,000 people were in Vegas for it at the whatever that stadium's called there. Allegiant, yep. I don't see
any ratings or how many viewers watched.
Yeah, it doesn't say. I mean, it 666 million views on social media. I mean, that's a massive number, but that's just watching clips,
Yeah,
so.
yeah. John Cena, right? You can't see me. I mean, it's huge. I mean, WrestleMania is huge.
Yeah, I mean, anytime you can get 150,000 people into a football stadium. Okay, so in 2024's 67 million.
Yeah.
That's massive. That's massive. Holy cow.
So we're going to put that in front of Monaco or behind Monaco Grand Prix?
I have to put it in front.
See if you can find any attendance for Monaco. Like, just how many people watch it.
Just the overall, yeah.
Overall. Because, we have no idea how big it is.
Yeah.
Right? Because it's across the pond, as they say. But
so, 200,000 people are there at the race. So this is estimates, worldwide viewership estimates over the course, because they have the events, the qualifying. They say 1.2 billion viewers over the course of the week.
Yeah, it's big, it's huge.
Yeah.
So I'll put that in front of WrestleMania.
Yeah, I think that's got to go in front.
And then we'll go WrestleMania. Yeah. So 1, 2, 3. WrestleMania 7, and then
7. Okay.
Yeah. So now we need 8, 9, and 10. So the question, I think it comes down to either Wimbledon versus the U.S. Open tennis.
I think it would be Wimbledon there. I would think.
With the prestige and stuff. Yeah. I do too. But the U.S. Open it draws the ratings. Or, I'm thinking, Champions League versus the Euros, even though I don't have any of that on any of mine.
Yeah, it would be the Champions League over the Euros.
So why don't we go
Champions
Wimbledon?
League is their Super Bowl in terms of, ratings and stuff.
Okay. So let's go Wimbledon and then the Champions League. And then I think we got one more. So
do we have any other overlap? Both had the Tour de France.
Right.
We both had the Boston Marathon.
Mm-hmm. They would probably have similar ratings, I would guess, as far as, Boston's a one-day thing, and it's, the most famous marathon. Tour de France is the most famous bike race, so maybe we could do a little tie.
Yeah, if you want to do a tie for 10th.
Tie for 10th, yeah. So we will put down, it looks like Tour de France and Boston Marathon. All right, so let's recap. So we got the Tour de France, Boston Marathon at 10. 9 is the Champions League Championship. Wimbledon at 8. At 7, WrestleMania. At 6, the Monaco Grand Prix. At 5, the Indianapolis 500. 4, the Masters. At 3, the Kentucky Derby. At 2 is the Olympics. And then the number one big non-event in the world is the World Cup. It happens every 4 years. So it should be pretty big. Yeah. Same thing with the Olympics. So there we go. If it happened every year, I don't know. I mean, probably the World Cup would still
The World
be
Cup would. I don't
would
think the
still be good. I
Olympics
don't
would
know
be
if
as
the
big.
Olympics would
I don't
be
think they
just
would.
because, it would lose its luster, I think.
Yeah. It definitely helps the Olympics. It honestly probably hurts the World Cup. So, I mean, the way that soccer is,
Yeah.
celebrated around the world, they could do that thing every summer if they wanted to.
Right. That is true.
I mean, they kind of do, right? Because you have your Euro, you have your Copa America, and this summer they have the Club World Cup, right? So clubs from each country around the world are competing in a World Cup style tournament. So, I mean, you essentially get some sort of version of the international game each summer, which I think more sports should do. I mean, you saw the hockey this past February. I mean, that was awesome.
Yeah,
that was awesome.
That was.
Something like that. World Baseball Classic is always good.
Mm-hmm.
It's a shame that they can't figure out a way to do something like that every single year.
Yep. That is true. All right. So we're going to wrap this
I think the MLB, the side tangent, I think the MLB All-Star Week could get shaken up and they could do something like that. U.S., Japan. I don't know. Maybe you'd have to go U.S., Asia, South America. Well, I mean, you still need a fourth team. But, they could figure it out.
Yep.
And get 4 teams and do a little tournament, and that's your All-Star.
Well, you could have weekend. Like the Eastern Caribbean versus,
True, you could go Caribbean, Central/South America, U.S., and then Asia. Yep. There you go.
There we go.
Boom.
All right, that about
there
wraps
you go,
it
Rob
up here.
Manfred. There's your idea.
You heard it here first on the Cincy Sports Scene. So there we go. All right. Thanks for hanging with us on this episode of the Cincy Sports Scene podcast. If you enjoyed the show, do us a favor. Hit that like, subscribe, and drop a comment. You can find us on all platforms, YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcast. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Cincy Sports Scene. And don't forget, email your trivia answer, even though Sam got it ahead of time, or just email us a trivia question that we may read on the air. For Sam, I'm Dave. Until next time, everybody, take care.
See you.